Hello dear viewers and welcome to my first Halloween video. Today we'll be talking about the delectably spooky game Vampire Survivors. It's not that spooky. Well, there is vampire hunters and skeletons and all sorts, so I would say it's quite spooky. Ooh, close enough I guess. Good. Now that the voice in my head has been appeased, could I quickly ask that if you like my content and fancy doing so, could you please leave a wonderful comment, like, share with your friends, and of course subscribe to the channel. If you fancy doing any of these, dear viewers, then I would be most grateful. Also, a mighty tome of fiction which I have written is available on Amazon right now. If you are interested in fantasy mixed in with elements of mental health, then this might be the book for you. So, Vampire Survivors is a two-dimensional, roguelike, action survival, bullet hell game that up until very recently was on early access on Steam. It has now officially launched with the 1.0 update on the 20th of October 2022. It was developed and published by Punkel. Apparently, the developer started this project as a weekend thing with only minimal features, and over the course of its development, like a rich vein of mithril, expanded into a bustling experience full of all kinds of crazy and wonderful things. The backstory of the game is quite simple. An evil person named Viscount Draculo has filled the land with all sorts of nasty monsters, and it's up to a ragtag bunch of heroes to fight back against the tide of darkness and survive as long as they possibly can. Ooh! Vampire Survivors has a wonderful start menu. You can press start to start, press quick start should you wish to start quicker, check the collection, power up your heroes, unlocks, check the bestiary, and of course the credits. Lastly, should you wish to check the options, there it is, right there, and of course you can quit. Alright, so what happens in the game? Each run of the game consists simply of selecting one of an initially handful of survivors, selecting a level and embarking on your mission to level up while fighting monsters and trying your best to survive. And survive you must. Upon commencing a new run, your chosen survivor will spawn in your chosen level. As you play the game, you will unlock more and more levels to run about in. Each hero begins with a specific weapon and ability which encourages different ways to play the game. Immediately upon spawning, monsters will begin harassing our wonderful hero, trying to kill them. You must not let them do so. The controls of the game are very simple. You use WASD or the arrow buttons to move your character sprite in 8 directions around the screen. You can also use a mouse. Any and all weapons that your survivors uses are automatically fired with no input from yourself. That sounds a bit boring then, just moving up and down and stuff. Yes, dear voice in my head, it might sound simple, but this game is a lot more than that. Besides the constant movement around the level, avoiding monsters trying to damage your hero, you will gain levels by collecting experience gems dropped by said monsters. Once the hero has gained enough experience, the player will be presented with the level up screen. On this screen, you will have the choice of selecting new and upgrading your current weapons, along with powerful buffs. Each weapon and buff has numerous ranks to be increased as we go. There is a slew of weapons to select from and passive buffs to obtain, but you will only be given a choice of 3 every time you deem. This means it is up to you, the player, to design how you are going to build your hero into an unstoppable evil monster killing survivor. The variety of weapon and buff interactions are many. For example, your survivor might have a passive that increases the number of projectiles from relevant weapons, so you might stack up on projectile-based weaponry. Another time, your hero may have passive larger area of effect, encouraging you to select area-based weapons and attacks. All of this is of course reliant on you being presented with the weapons you actually want for your build. There is some help on this front though. The player can level up their luck, which has a chance to show 4 choices on a level, or the player may even use a banish charge to remove certain unwanted weapons from the available pool. There are boss type monsters that will spawn at various times throughout a run. They are easy to spot as they are generally larger than the other monsters, as well as often being a different monster type to those currently assailing you. They take longer to kill and will try to kill you like all the other monsters, but when they are defeated they will always drop a chest on the ground. If you move your hero over to the box, you'll be presented with a special unlocking screen. To increase one of your weapons regardless of whether you are on the experience bar. This means killing boss monsters is a high priority. As part of the deeper complexity of the game, should you level a weapon to level 8, then get at least one level in its associated buff, then the player will gain access to the evolved level evolved version of the weapon. And let me tell you, dear viewers, these evolved weapons are very powerful, adding even more craziness to the screen and devastating to the monsters. So, you're on a run, fighting and avoiding monsters, gaining levels, weapons and buffs, trying to go for specific weapons and combos to suit your build. What now? Well, there are turkeys to refill your dwindling health, shiny gold coins along with secret interactions like finding coffins or portals to weird new maps and other strange things you might come across. When you die, and you all die a lot, you will unlock various things like new heroes, items and levels depending on how well you performed. There are unlocks for different types of accomplishments, such as reaching a certain level with a certain hero, lasting for a certain time with another hero, finding secret things, leveling weapons, and all sorts. And, of course, you can venture to the buff screen where you can spend the gold you've accumulated over the course of your runs. Like some other games with roguelike features, you can purchase passive upgrades that will apply to every run you venture off on. This adds for some limited progression as well as unlocking all the other goodies in the game. They tend to be similar to the buffs you acquire during a run, such as passive speed, extra projectiles, revival when you die, etc. On top of all that, there's also the special cards which you apply to any given run. These will become available to you by unlocking them with the associated goal or task, such as reaching a certain level minute with some particular hero. These cards can have a drastic effect on your run, adding even more crazy madness. They can increase the number and power of monsters, provide bonus powers, revives, luck, and many other things. And it isn't finished there. There's also the bonus settings you can unlock, such as Turbo Mode, which increases the XP gained by the hero, but also the frequency of monsters. This is not to say, of course, of the numerous heroes which the player can unlock, each with their own unique buff and some quite strange weapons, such as crazy cats or minecarts. The game really does get more and more in depth the longer you play it. There seemed to be something new every time I fired it up. I think this is a wonderful game full of all sorts of eccentric madness. You can pick up and play for a session of 30 minutes or less and get a fun-filled experience every time. The imagination employed here with all the different modes and features is truly wonderful, and it is clear the developer put in a lot of work and effort to deliver this simple yet beard-strokingly good game. Currently, in the UK, it is on sale for £3.19, with its full price being £3.99. If you think you might like what you see in this here video, dear viewers, then I would give it a whirl. Being as cheap as it is means you can't really go wrong. You could buy it and binge it for a week and still be worth the money and the good memories you will create. This is another wonderful example, in my opinion, dear viewers, of what the world of video games can and should be. An engaging and fun experience which draws you in, takes you away from the worries of real life for a little while, and leaves you hopefully a little happier for it. So yes, dear viewers, I recommend this game wholeheartedly. Go check this out and get involved with all the madness therein. You will not regret it. And there we have it, another video from this here dwarf, and on Halloween indeed. Woo! If you got this far, then perhaps you might like to subscribe to the channel, which I would truly appreciate. I hope you are well, and I hope that all the heaviness of the real world doesn't weigh too heavily upon your heart. I now pull close the mighty doors to this dwarven hold once more, and I shall see you next time.